This year's NBA playoffs is shaping up to be one of the most competitive in a long time, with a large variety of teams in contention for an NBA title. But the team that the league should be scared of is the Boston Celtics. Okay, the Hawks have perhaps given them a tougher time than most have predicted, but they've dispatched of them regardless. With a second round matchup against the Philadelphia 76ers and Joel Embiid on the cards, get your popcorn ready, as this should be one hell of an entertaining series. These guys ended the regular season with the second best record in the league at 57 wins and 25 losses, just behind Eastern rivals Milwaukee. With Tatum and Brown both averaging over 25 points per game in the first round, the duo have yet again turned up for the Celtics. And yes, the Sixers have just swept the Brooklyn Nets, and have who is probably this year's MVP in Joel Embiid, alongside James Harden and Tyrese Maxey. But this Boston team is probably going to be a bit too much for them. Plus, Embiid might even be injured for the first and second game, both of which are away to Boston. It'll be tight, and it may even go down to Game 7. But with home advantage and superior statistics alongside a superior roster, this series may be over before it's even started. Okay, the Sixers may have comfortably swept the Nets, and this is without having played Embiid in Game 4 in Brooklyn. While the Celtics, on the other hand, have had a much tougher time against the Hawks than many had predicted. But the Brooklyn series did show us how Embiid can possibly be contained. If you guys watched any of the Sixers-Nets series at all, you would have noticed how Embiid got double-teamed pretty much any time he got the ball in his hands, leading to him averaging just 20 points per game, compared to his career-high regular season average of 33.1 points. And despite getting double-teamed, his assist average stands actually 0.2 below his regular season average of 4.2. Had the likes of Tyrese Maxey, who's averaged nearly 22 points per game on 50% from 3, and Tobias Harris, who's been averaging over 20 points per game, stepped up in his absence? Absolutely. But when you have a team like the Boston Celtics, without disrespecting this young and up-and-coming Nets team, who are pretty much superior in every quantifiable and non-quantifiable aspect of basketball to the Nets, double-teaming Embiid while actually being able to nullify the threats of everyone else around him and hitting important shots yourself in the offensive end becomes far easier. Okay, so let's break it down. This Boston Celtics team have Jaylen Brown and Jayson Tatum at the small forward and power forward, Al Horford at center, and then Derek White and Marcus Smart at shooting guard and point guard. Off the bench, they have the newly awarded Sixth Man of the Year in Malcolm Brogdon and Robert Williams. This is a Boston team that has one of the best defenses in the entire league. They finished second in the league for team defensive rating at 110.6 and are also statistically the best defensive rebounding team in the league with a defensive rebound percentage of 74.6%. The likes of Al Horford and Robert Williams are also excellent at boxing out, with the Celtics also leading the league in defensive box outs at 6.3 per game. The 2022 Defensive Player of the Year in Marcus Smart is a one-man defensive engine on his own, with his 1.5 steals per game putting him right up there in one of the best in the league, while he's also contributed to the Celtics' charges drawn per game at 0.67, which ranks them 6th in the league, and a deflections per game at 14, 8th highest in the league. This is especially important if and when Embiid throws a pass to a wide open man when he gets double teamed. You can bet that Marcus Smart will get a couple of deflections and steals off of the Sixers' turnovers. But even on offense, this Boston team is next to impossible to stop. With arguably the best duo in the league in Jayson Tatum and Jaylen Brown, your best hope is for both of them to have an off night, which is a rarity in itself. Both their regular season averages have translated nicely to the playoffs, with Tatum and Brown both averaging over 25 points per game. And like their defensive rating, they have a team offensive rating of 118, making them arguably the most well-rounded team in the league. Coming in 6th in the league for 3-point percentage at 37.7%, this team does also know how to light it up from 3, with the likes of Al Horford and Grant Williams shooting around or above 40% from 3. And having just fallen short of a title last year, losing to Steph Curry and the Golden State Warriors in Game 6, these guys have everything it takes to win their 18th championship, and their first with a specific group of players. In the regular season, the Celtics went 3-1 versus the Sixers, with their only loss coming by a deficit of just 2 points. And with the Bucks, to the surprise of most of the NBA fanbase, eliminated by the Heat in the first round, these guys really only have themselves as their own potential worst enemy, at least in the East. They have a fully healthy squad, aside from Danilo Gallinari, who hasn't played at all, and with Robert Williams III, who had been injured for large stretches of the season, they also have a strong rim protector available off the bench. So, these guys have a deep and fully healthy squad, alongside a star-studded duo who just reached the finals last year. Man, contrary to popular belief, Jayson Tatum is now 25 years old, and Jaylen Brown is 26. These guys can honestly play 40 minutes a night in the finals if it all comes down to it. And put up against anyone in the West in the finals, whether it be the Nuggets, who have never reached an NBA final in their history, or the Lakers or the Warriors, Boston have the legs and the depth at the very least to match them, but more likely to overpower them. It really was only the Milwaukee Bucks, led by Giannis, who had the depth, experience and form to match them, considering they were the only team with a better record in the regular season. But then a combination of injuries and Jimmy Butler unleashing his inner Michael Jordan obviously led to their demise, which I'm sure Boston and the rest of the contenders are delighted about. But on a serious note, Boston has absolutely everything at their disposal to win it. With 5 players in their roster who average double digits in the regular season, and that's without including Al Horford with 9.8 points per game, this team has it all on the offensive end. And on the defensive end, they have, statistically, one of the best defenses in the NBA, alongside last year's Kia Defensive Player of the Year in Marcus Smart, and arguably 2 incredibly talented defensive centers in Al Horford and Robert Williams III. And with the tied 4th best home record in the regular season at 32 wins and 9 losses, and with the tied 3rd best away record at 25 wins and 16 losses, this team can perform home and away. And with the Bucks now eliminated, they'll have home advantage against anyone they come up against this year, in every series, including in the finals, which they did not have last year against the Warriors. But sure, the Sixers, the only team to win their series 4-0 in this year's playoffs, will be an incredibly difficult task for them. Joel Embiid is looking like he'll win this year's MVP after finishing a scoring champion for the 2nd year in a row. They've also got Harden, Maxey and Harris playing their roles effectively, alongside strong options off the bench. And if they get past the Sixers, which again will be tough, they got either the Heat or the Knicks, who are tough tasks in themselves. And even in the finals, they might face a Denver Nuggets team led by the back-to-back MVP in Nikola Jokic and a Jamal Murray who is no stranger to dropping 50 in a playoff series. Or they might face an experienced but hungry Warriors team led by Steph Curry and Klay Thompson, who beat them in the finals last year. Or a Lakers team led by a 38-year-old LeBron James who is still playing elite-level basketball, and Anthony Davis who is looking close to his best. And this is without mentioning the new super team in town, the Phoenix Suns, with the most unguardable player in the league in Kevin Durant, an elite scorer in Devin Booker, and a point god in Chris Paul. It's not going to be easy, but the Celtics have the roster to go for it. If you guys enjoyed the video and if you want to see more NBA content like this on a weekly basis, please drop a like and subscribe to the channel. It goes a long way. And if you've still got time to watch some more of my independently created content, please check out one of the videos here. Thanks. Have a good day.